a fairy godparent? Give me 5 minutes and a few wishes. I'm your host Youssef, and these are 10 scary Fairly OddParents theories that will blow your mind. Editor, put an explosion above my head. Make sure you subscribe and ring that bell to get notified whenever we upload a new video. Anyways, Fairy Godparents! Number 10, Poofs Dad isn't Cosmo. So some friends of mine and I were recently talking about the Fairly OddParents when playing some old Nicktoon video games. Someone joked about Poof not being Cosmos, but when we thought about it, the evidence is very clear that Poof is not Cosmos. In fairies, genetics shows through color. For example, Cosmo and Mama Cosma both are green, albeit Cosmo is a darker green than Mama Cosma. We also see that Wanda and her sister Blonda have the same pink eye color. Poof isn't green or pink though, he's a purplish bluish color. The same color as none other than Juandissimo. But we see Cosmo pregnant with Poof in the Fairy Baby special, so how isn't he Cosmos? Well, Timmy wished Poof into existence, so I propose that because Cosmo was infertile, the wish created a fairy baby using both Wanda and Juandissimo's genes, and then transferred the embryo to Cosmo. Number 9, the Dinklebergs represent Timmy's dad's ideal life. The Dinklebergs are the Turner family's irritating, childless neighbors. Redditor KickASSETTER thinks the couple's name might give insight into what they represent. I believe that the Dinklebergs are a play on the term dink, or double income, no kids. It's mentioned many times that they have no children, a lot of money, plenty of free time, and have had a relatively successful life while dad came up short, got a mediocre job, and had Timmy. He's not unhappy that he has Timmy, but still resents the Dinklebergs for any of the reasons any parent might have towards couples who don't have children. Number 8, Timmy is playing pretend. The reality of Timmy's life is a bit bleak on close examination, hinted at by the line "doom and gloom up in his room" in the show's opening theme song. But an anonymous theory on Imgur reckons his life is even worse than we think. The Fairly OddParents is about a kid playing pretend with his fish. His grandparents perished in a car crash when he was younger. Since they were the only adults who have ever understood him, he finds comfort in imagining that they are there to watch over him since his parents obviously don't care. His babysitter slaps him around. Mr. Crocker has made inappropriate advances on young Timmy for years, hence the delusion that he is desperate to steal Timmy's fairies, which represent his innocence, joy, hope, and good wishes for the future. Number 7, the fairies are there to be useless. One thing that bothers me about TFO, and it probably bothers you too, is that Timmy Turner learns the same lesson every single week. This lesson is that you can't just wish your problems away. Every time you do, you end up creating more problems. And even in a world where you get everything you want, there are still rules, terms, and conditions that will hold you back. Which brings me to the true purpose of the Fairly OddParents. It's not simply to give us a show where we can laugh at the misfortunes of a 10-year-old boy who had the world at his fingertips. It's to show us that the Fairy Godparents aren't really there to just give Timmy whatever he wants. Instead, the whole point of giving Timmy Fairy Godparents is to teach him that he doesn't need them. In fact, the very first episode of the main show is about Timmy wishing that he was grown up instead of just, well, growing up the normal way. Number 6, Jorgen is using Timmy to keep Crocker mad. It's revealed in one episode that Crocker's craziness over fairies is what is powering the big wand in the fairy world. If Crocker became sane, it would lead to a power shortage. This may explain why Vicky is kept around despite her evilness. Jorgen uses magic to manipulate people's minds to let Vicky keep making Timmy miserable, so that Timmy can be given Wanda and Cosmo. Timmy having fairies is what makes Crocker freak out. It's all a big conspiracy to maintain the power supply. Number 5, Vicky is protected. Throughout the series, Vicky progresses from being strict like a normal babysitter to being a total sadist, harming kids and getting away with it. She gets away with it, it seems, because Timmy's parents don't believe him. However, there's one adult who knows how evil Vicky is. The one whose son was outright enslaved by Vicky in the first episode he appears in. That's right, Doug Dimmadome. He even acknowledges that he knows she's evil when Timmy's parents ask him. So why doesn't he report her for child endangerment? Being the Richard person in Dimsdale, he definitely has the money to influence politicians and law enforcement. Therefore, it is my theory that he's the one who's been protecting Vicky all of these years by influencing the authorities to not take her in. Number 4. Cosmo is smarter than he seems. Throughout the series, Wanda is characterized as the smart, sensible fairy godparent, while her husband, Cosmo, is a sweet simpleton. But perhaps it wasn't always this way. Channel Frederator's cartoon conspiracy might have an explanation for Cosmo's apparent ignorance. Since Wanda usually takes responsibility for all of their backfired plans, her partner manages to evade the burden merely by playing dumb. However, Cosmo appears to have become less intelligent over time. Cartoon conspiracy posits that he may be feigning stupidity to escape punishment for the chaos he and Wanda always cause. Number 3. The fairies don't exist. Wanda, Cosmo, and Timmy's parents are all voiced by the same actors. This fact leads Redditor future Dr. Herp to wonder if Timmy's two sets of guardians are more closely linked than they initially appear. When I found out that the actual voices of Cosmo and Wanda were his parents' voices, it led me to thinking that every episode is just Timmy's vivid imagination coming to life. Wanda and Cosmo are slightly different voiced alterations of what Timmy wishes his parents could be. Cosmo and Wanda always have his back and protect him from Vicky, the evil in his life. He asks Cosmo and Wanda's advice about girls, school, dealing with aggressive peers, terrible teachers like Mr. Crocker, and life's events. Everything normally he'd ask his parents about. This is Timmy's way of growing up. Number 2, there are 3 timelines. The Fairly OddParents ran for 16 years, and in that long period, it offered more than one glimpse into Timmy Turner's future. 1. The original timeline, where future Timmy is voiced by Alec Baldwin as shown in Channel Chasers, and has 2 kids with Tootie or Trixie, ambiguous. Number 2, the grow-up Timmy Turner timeline, where he's Drake Bell in his early 20s, still has Cosmo and Wanda along with Poof, and is dating Tootie while flying around the world granting others wishes. And number 3, the season 9 or 10 timeline, which adds the talking dog. That's most likely a serial slayer, and the other girl he shares his fairies with. Number 1, the fairies are substances. This theory from Channel Frederator's cartoon conspiracy show on YouTube puts a pill-themed spin on the whole it's all in your head idea. Perhaps fairy world and fairies themselves don't exist at all. Instead, Timmy Turner's moods are being altered by antidepressants personified by 2 little fairy helpers. The video goes on to characterize the rest of the show's fairies as different medications as well. According to host Emily Carson, the overly buff Jorgen von Strangle is a metaphor for enhancements, and Wandissimo Magnifico, Wanda's macho ex-boyfriend, is Viagra. As for Crocker, Timmy's conspiracy theorist teacher, he's actually a therapist trying to convince Timmy to give up his substance reliance. Thanks for watching. Those were 10 scary Fairly OddParents theories that will blow your mind. Leave a like and comment if you think we missed anything, and we hope you have a scary day.